You're listening to the Modern Mainframe, BMC's Intelligent Z Optimization and Transformation podcast, covering the latest trends and issues on the mainframe and how BMC AIME and BMC CompuWare Solutions can help you build a mainframe-inclusive DevOps toolchain. Hey everyone, welcome to the Modern Mainframe. I'm Matt Dallaire. Thanks for joining us for the third and final part of our discussion of mainframe development tools in DevOps. Our panel today consists of three experienced and very knowledgeable mainframe professionals. BMC Area Vice President of Product Management, Sam Knutson. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Matt. Glad to be here.
Senior DevOps Architect Stuart Ashby. Welcome, Stuart.
Thanks, Matt. Glad to be back.
And last, but certainly not least, Senior Product Manager, Mark Schettenhelm. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thank all of you for joining us today. In the first episode of the series, Sam and Stuart discussed the risks of not modernizing your mainframe tools, as well as the benefits of doing so. The second episode featured Mark and BMC senior software consultant Roland Kinsman talking about the mainframe development experience and how modern tools can help improve it. In both episodes, we referred to stats from two BMC commission studies. Modernizing mainframe development tools can help drive greater ROI from Forrester Consulting, and mainframe resurgence spurs DevOps adoption from Dimensional Research. So I'll include links to both of those reports in the show notes. Based on those two surveys, we know the following. 93% of businesses run business-critical applications on the mainframe. 71% of those surveyed indicated DevOps speeds mainframe application releases by months or weeks. 77% of developers say that modern tools will increase development velocity by 18%. And 62% of those surveyed feel the quality of their organization's applications will increase by 23%. So, Sam and Stuart, in your interactions with customers, do you see more customers building a mainframe-inclusive DevOps toolchain, or is there more work to be done? Sam, I'll start with you.
So there's still more work to be done. I would say that we are moving out of early adopters and into the early majority of customers embracing this. And you do see that almost 3/4 of companies worldwide say that they are involving DevOps some way. The evolution is really gaining steam now, and I think that this will be the de facto way of working in just a few years. Today, you still see customers who are focusing on cutting costs at all costs, sort of just using the platform in the same way that they might have used it in 1999, and not really looking at what is the developer experience I need to deliver to get the optimum results from these software developers to provide a great customer experience. But more and more companies are making that investment. They realize that the mainframe is a critical part of their mission-critical applications for their company, that they're committing to the platform long-term. See, again, in these studies that you refer to, the majority of companies realize the mainframe is going to be around for long-term. They expect they now need to evolve the way that they work on that platform to move into the future and to be successful. So, yeah, I think momentum is building. And again, in just a few years, this will be the dominant way that people look at the platform as just another development platform, and they'll accept development tools that they use and get the most value from across their tool chain applied to other platforms can equally be applied to mainframe. BMC CompuWare is there. That is what we do. We do the heavy lifting on the ZOS platform, go right to the edge to mainstream the mainframe, to make it different only in syntax.
Stuart?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that many organizations have already seen the investment that they've done in the non-mainframe DevOps arena have paid off. And we're not trying to reinvent any of those processes. As Sam was saying, we're doing the heavy lifting to integrate the mainframe in broadly the same way that it's been done on other platforms already. I'd certainly agree that we've got past the early adopters we're reaching that early majority, late majority hump in the adoption curve. But I think, in my opinion, the style of adoption is changing from what we were seeing a few years ago, because people transitioning now have been able to learn from the path that was trodden by the earlier transformations. So it's been good. It's been proven. So we're there. It's all solid. The important thing is that tooling's been proven. The capability and the developer experience has been proven. And what else is happening is that there are other things happening in the non-mainframe world, like orchestration, release orchestration and deployment orchestration. That beyond having a pipeline, the next level that advanced companies are getting into is orchestration. And those companies have come to us and said, we need an integration between BMC, CompuWare, ISPW, and HCL Launch, as an example. Or we're migrating to GitHub. In episode 1, we were talking about how we're going to version control, distributed version control from a Git perspective. And people don't necessarily want to use Jenkins alone. They want to use GitHub Actions. So we've taken that feedback on with the product management that Sam runs. And in July, those were a couple of integrations that we announced. Not because we went out and tried to seek out winners or losers, in the ecosystem. It's because customers are saying to us, this is what we need. Can you facilitate it? Yes, we can. Boom. That's your adoption. So I can't help feeling that anyone starting today, the road has already been laid. You're not going to find as many bumps as it was a couple of years ago. So building that mainframe inclusive DevOps toolchain is a reality. Of course, there's going to be work to be done because there's always going to be something around the corner. But you don't have to fear the unexpected. It isn't unexpected now. We're good. We've proven it. Lots of customers are shouting about it. And I think that's the important thing, that the adoption curve and all the rest of it is happening. It's here. It's now.
And amongst the customers that you help implement DevOps and the DevOps toolchain, what kind of results are they seeing? What have they achieved?
I would say that it's quite staggering what they've achieved. We have one UK retail banking customer, and I suppose they probably started their journey 3 to 4 years ago. And because they've seen success in all three aspects of any kind of transformation, with the people, the processes, and the technology, that they are in a place where they're now spinning up mainframe containerized test environments. So they're using the ZCX extensions that IBM put into the ZOS operating system recently. They're spinning up test environments. They're running pipelines to populate it so it's just right. They are doing for the mainframe what people have been talking about with, containerization in the non-mainframe world for a long time. It's a reality. That's the most exciting thing, Matt, that I don't think that if you've got enough desire to change your organization, I don't think there's anything you can't do. And if there is, you've got Sam Knutson and his team of product managers that are going to listen to your requirements and work on enhancing the tools to come towards, a coherent approach.
Stuart cited some really wonderful statistics, and I highly recommend when you talk about deeply understanding the ROI that can be had from something like automated testing. The Total Economic Impact Study is a fantastic document that has great proof points, and you can, when you talk to your management team, you're going to want to go to them and say, this is something, when I'm proposing to undertake these changes, not only that will give us a more modern way of working that's consistent with our other platforms, but it will pay for itself in a very short period of time. But let me give you, on the complete other end of the spectrum, 2 words why you would want to do this and what we have seen from customers. Happy developers.
If you mainstream your mainframe, if you provide continuous delivery, high degree of automation, a great developer experience with a modern IDE, then you can bring developers in and get them immediately involved on applications that matter to the firm, being productive and enjoying their work environment, and minimize the differences between the mainframe and any other platform so that it's different only in syntax.
And getting the things out of their focus area that should be automated, that should just work for them.
So if you've decided you want to adopt DevOps and you want to implement these tools, you've made the decision, you've gone to management, you've made the case for it, and now you're looking at the actual tools that you're going to use. What features or types of tools should folks be looking for that will help them get these types of benefits? And I'll start with Mark.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I wrote a blog on this once on tool recommendations. So I went in through, obviously there's things like Jenkins. There's automated testing, I think is critical to ensure that as you speed up, you have the quality, and also automating something that's mind-numbing when you're trying to do it manually. That's important. The right interface, the IDE, so that it's something that's very comfortable and modern and easy to work with. So there's many things like that in the environment that you need. The other piece of advice I give is to read our 10 Steps ebook, because that goes into some of the tools that you'll need. It's a great starting point, and I recommend really going back to it as you progress, because it's one of those, after a month or two, you reread it and you go, oh yeah, that makes even more sense now. The second piece of advice is steal. Yes, steal. I recommend that you spend more time with developers on other platforms and see how they work, what they are doing. Take their pipelines and adapt, because when I've talked to some developers like, I don't know where to start, I go, well, they're having success over there. Look at their pipeline, swap out some of the products you use, but steal what works for them and adapt it. You're not going to have all the answers, so work outside your group, outside the mainframe, attend conferences, but basically learn and steal.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Exactly. You don't have all the answers, so just steal it.
And you're supposed to constantly improve and iterate.
Right.
Correct? So that works out. I have a feeling, Stuart and Samuel, you'll both point to automated testing, but what other tools would you recommend, or features of tools would you recommend? Sam, I'll start with you.
You know, Matt, I think the biggest thing is that they want to look for tools that are mainframe inclusive. And we have taken that approach from the beginning. We view true mainframe DevOps as inherently multi-vendor, multi-platform, so that you can leverage great tools like SonarQube, Jenkins, Splunk, as well as create your own integrations. That approach is what you want to look for in any tool suite, is openness, which is actually proven through publicly documented APIs and technical integrations. It's not a messaging attribute. It's the way that the technology is built. That's just a foundational principle of the DevOps ecosystem, and it's really important when you think about the future of the way you're going to build software. You want to look for a good, proven, prescriptive pattern. You know, patterns that are going to help you be successful and learn from others.
Stuart, anything to add?
Yeah, kind of. There are so many great tools that are coming along, but one of the things that I would highlight that Mark alluded to with the 10 steps is you've got to understand what your desired state is. You have to know where you're going on the journey before you start, and sometimes that also involves understanding where you are today to find out what those incremental steps look like and who needs to be involved and what areas within your own organization you're going to learn from, or as Mark says, steal from. And so we offer our value stream assessments and a bit of insight from our industry knowledge that we have through working with lots of customers. So you could perhaps see it as a little bit of a consultancy, where with your existing teams, we bring them together maybe for the first time to talk about what the value stream looks like. Value stream is a modern way of looking at the software delivery lifecycle, because that's the value stream from idea through to production implementation. Look at how you're doing things now, perhaps put some time measurements to it so that you can actually understand where the high friction points are. The low hanging fruit maybe for starting that transformation. Those 10 steps in the ebook, they don't have to be done steps 2 through 10 in that order. You can do them in any order you want, but you have to know where to start. What's going to bring you the biggest return in the shortest time, perhaps, to just prove that you're on the right journey, or if not, change direction to find that correct direction. So the value stream activity, the workshops that we offer, helps everyone understand why the transition is starting, where we want to get to, and then federating the steps that are going to be taken to achieve that. That's what I would say. And then measuring all the way, all the improvements, whether that's with, as I mentioned in episode 1, the Z Advisor service that BMC created, or whether it's using a value stream management tool as well. But it's so important that you're always measuring your improvement, or not necessarily an improvement. You might make something that seems appears logically correct, but the measurements show that it's actually counterintuitive because perhaps there's another dependency somewhere that hasn't quite been worked out, and the expected results didn't come. So that's what I would say. Understand your value stream and measurement.
So I have one more question, and it's pretty open-ended. The question is, where do you see the industry going from here? Sam, I'll start with you.
There's nowhere to go but up, Matt. This is a fantastic time to be around the mainframe platform. I've worked around this platform my entire career, and I've never seen a more exciting point in time than where we are at right now. We see more than 3/4 of customers have DevOps processes involved in their mainframe life cycles today. That is a remarkable amount of change in a relatively few years.
And there's this amazing creative future for the platform where the developer experience has evolved at the same rate and pace that the ecosystem and the hardware continues to evolve, so that we've got it's a really great place to work, and that people are still working on these mainframe systems that matter, and they've actually created new systems, systems that run the world's economy. These platforms are not going anywhere. We see the largest firms have committed to them, well into the future. And I'm excited that while my career has less time left than is now behind me, there are next-gen developers who've only been working on the platform a few years, who I'm now confident have the same opportunities for longevity working on these technologies that I did.
Stuart, where do you see the industry going?
So where do I see mainframe DevOps going, Matt? I think the lines will get blurred massively. I think as the workforce gets refreshed, that people will do things differently because that's what they're comfortable with. If you're not understanding why something happened, then let's try something new, something different. I honestly believe that organizations will have to not prefix a department or a team with the word mainframe. So database teams will be DB2 plus SQL Server plus Oracle. Those lines will get blurred because that's what the automation is going to do. You're going to be ingesting data into whatever your reporting tools of choice are, whatever your pipeline tool of choice is going to be. It's going to blur the lines, and the mainframe will have been mainstreamed, and I'm sure that IBM will have adapted the operating system to be as effective as it possibly can for a modern application development, a modern site reliability engineering approach for organizations, for enterprises to take. I think we'll be talking in terms of compute rather than platform. What I mean is that we won't necessarily be highlighting this is COBOL or this is Java. It'll be this is what our value to our customer is, and this is how we deliver it. And the intermediate steps are going to be irrelevant. All we want to do is maximize our customer value to attract new customers and retain existing ones.
And Mark, well, finally for your answer.
All right. I've seen such changes in the past few years. For some mainframe organizations, rapid changes in the improvements that have gone along with them. I see those organizations that are advanced with DevOps continuing to get better rapidly. Like it will just pick up pace and they will advance faster and get those gains quicker. Those that are a little bit behind them in the curve are going to be moving up as well. And sadly, those that aren't looking to improve, that haven't, they may not. And my fear is what could be a great divide between the Agile and DevOps haves and the have-nots. And I hope it won't turn to that. I hope that it just continues to go through in the maturity scale and that organizations see the benefits and move forward. So I'm very encouraged that we're not going to really leave people behind.
And to wrap up the entire series with one more stat based on that, the Forrester report asked about efforts to modernize applications on the mainframe. And if you add up the numbers, 86% said they have either completed the process, they are in the process, or are planning to modernize mainframe applications. So it looks like people are definitely moving in that direction, and the future is indeed bright. Thank you, all three of you, for joining me today, for taking time out of your schedules to record this. I think it's been very informative, very useful, so thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for putting it together. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
So that concludes our series. If you haven't already, be sure to check out episode 1 about the risks and benefits of modernizing mainframe development tools, and episode 2 about the mainframe developer experience. Also be sure to check the show notes for links to the Forrester and dimensional research reports that were discussed, as well as the automated testing TEI framework and 10 steps to mainframe agility ebook. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Modern Mainframe.
You're listening to the Modern Mainframe, BMC's intelligent Z optimization and transformation podcast, covering the latest trends and issues on the mainframe and how BMC AIME and BMC CompuWare Solutions can help you build a mainframe-inclusive DevOps toolchain.